Well, good morning, everybody. How you doing? We got a little wind here. We have Monday, November the 3rd, 2025. So we'll head downtown here. I'm heading to work. I know we'll be dealing with the wind all winter here. Welcome to the Windy City. I know it's the politicians, the wind that comes out of the politicians' mouth, but there is wind from the lake and there's the tall buildings here. So hey, hope everybody had a good weekend there. We'll see if anybody tunes in here. I know it's early, but hey, how about the Bears? The Bears pulled off a fourth quarter miraculous comeback there against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. We'll talk more about it. A little chilly start to the morning here. We have upper 40s, but we should get to 60 degrees possibly later this afternoon, so I'm risking it. I'm not wearing my heavy winter coat here. We'll just I think we'll be able to make it. It should be in the 50s by the time we get downtown. The sun's rising. Looks like a beautiful start to the week. So hey, thanks for tuning in there. Hey, everybody's tuning in there. Jessica, good morning. Aisha, Pete, Rivaldi, Rodriguez, yeah, Doreen, Della, how you doing there? Good morning. Thanks for tuning in, Aunt Della. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good weekend there. Yeah, I talked to my dad there. He didn't get any trick-or-treaters, so he was happy. Eminem, how you doing there? Yeah, Izzy, G, Aisha, Eric, Jessica, Nelios, Gilbert. Yeah, Tara's tuning in there. Nyril. Yeah, good morning, Doreen. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. So, yeah, it's a little chilly start to the morning, but hey, how about this? Yeah, I know, Della, I bet Casey and Mikey and all my cousins that are Bengals fans are licking their wounds. I know the Bengals we're talking about football here. The Bengals, you know, they lost their star quarterback there to injuries, but they got the Joe Flacco there. Amazing comeback. I mean, look at the end of the game, just like the last minute. So the Cincinnati Bengals football team successfully were able to do an onside kick and get the ball, and Joe Flacco quickly threw a touchdown pass to take the Cincinnati Bengals. Had a 1-point lead. Less than 1 minute left in the fourth quarter. The Bears get the ball back, march down the field. This very chaotic throw from Williams there. Loveless, the tight end, the rookie tight end from the Chicago Bears there, caught it. It kind of, the Bengals players missed the tackle, and it kind of, everybody ricocheted off each other. He caught the ball, Loveless, ran to the end zone, game-winning touchdown. Bears win 47-43, a heartbreaking loss for the Cincinnati Bengals. But hey, the Bears are 5-3. We miraculously have a pretty decent start to the season, so hope's alive. And Bears were just amazed. We got some offense there, so hey, we'll see how it goes. Other news: the Los Angeles Dodgers defeated the Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto. Pulled up the impossible. People think they were down. Blue Jays were up 3-2, heading back into home for 2 home games. Games 6 and 7. Dodgers won both those games. True to form to how the series went, that Game 3, 18 inning, extra innings. Even the Game 7 of the World Series went to extra innings. Even at the last inning, bottom of the 10th or 11th, whatever it was, the Blue Jays had a man on third base that could tie the game. Couldn't get him home. Double played into game. Amazingly interesting World Series. I'm sure it'll be talked about for a long time here. So congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers. That was the second year in a row they won the World Series for Major League Baseball here in America. Look at that view. You get to the John Hancock. If you just joined, we're in Chicago. We're heading south on Clark Street. There's the kitty, the Hello Kitty cat saying hello there. Hello, kitty. There, we missed the bus to 22. We got about 47 degrees, I'll say. A little chilly start to the morning. Feels like fall. But hey, we made it through Halloween, and we'll continue to head barreling towards the winter holidays here. Here, let's get across Webster Street. We got a few seconds here. Thank you, Christian. I didn't realize there's a car there. It's always a car turn, no matter where you go. Yeah, let's cross the street here. So there's Clark Street. Look at that view you get looking down there. We'll get it once we get down to Armitage there. Clark Street at Webster, Lincoln Park, Chicago, 47 degrees. We got 6:46 in the AM. Time changed. That's why it's daylight. Now when I get out of work at 5, it'll already be dark, which will be perfect for the holiday lights once they string them up there. Yeah, you should. Lambie T. Lambie T's tuning in. Wes. Yeah. Frederico. Gilbert. Yeah. Thanks everybody there. Watching from Ireland there. Decky, play-by-play. Decky, thanks for tuning in from Ireland. That's great. Welcome to YouTube. So if you missed it, Friday night we did the Haunted Halsted. That was a great parade. I cut out clips there. We saw Grimace. We saw Godzilla. We saw all the great costumes there. And thanks to everybody that participated in that. You guys did a great job as always. The Haunted Halsted parade there in Boys Town. We had a good time. And I even cut over to Wrigley Field for a little bit. We were there way too early. Later in the night I saw clips, people closer to midnight, that Clark Street was packed. All those clubs, there were lines out the door. They closed down the street. I went home to watch the World Series, so that's why we got that footage of the Wiener Circle. Wiener Circle was, they dressed up the business. The business, it was, instead of White Castle, it was Black Castle. People like that. I did it. I timed it to the Black Sabbath music. I know I probably should have did some like gangster hip hop. I didn't want to play into the black stereotypes, so I did Black Sabbath instead. Here's Chicago Pizza and Oven Grinder here, 2121 North Clark Street here. Look at that, Chicago Pizza and Oven Grinder. Yeah, right across from the St. Valentine's Day Master. We talked about it last week. And welcome to Chicago. This is Clark Street, Lincoln Park. We're heading to work here. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, White Castle. I know. That's why the Wiener Circle is a hot dog joint. It's notorious for, they heckle you, kind of like Ed DeBevics. They yell at you, you know, if you do your order wrong, or it's all in fun, you know. It's just, and it's fun to watch the banner. But they did that last year. They dressed up their building. They call it the Black Castle. And that's it. It's the mock White Castle and play on words Black Castle for Halloween, and it's the Wiener Circle, so it works. But it was interesting. They were right before I filmed that. There was, you notice in that video, there's a gentleman standing by the bar. Hallie asked access to get to the back. They had kicked him out just before I went there, and he looked like a security guard that was off the shift. But I don't know if I don't know if Wiener Circle staff were being serious or not. They were yelling at him, saying he was ICE and he was threatening their employees, and so they excluded him from their premises, and that's why he was standing there, and he was desperately using his phone, and he yelled at him back, and I don't know what the deal was. And so when I filmed that, it was kind of tense, and that's why when I opened the door, everybody in there, they were like, "What, am I ICE filming them?" And I'm like, that's why I got out of there, because I'm like, I don't want to be associated with, I'm not ICE, I'm a live streamer, I'm just heading down the street. I know we're all worried there's all this social media surveillance going on now. We noticed the ICE agents use their phones. There's an app that they have access to, facial recognition stuff. So all the stuff we were worried about China doing, with China cracked down on Hong Kong and turned off the internet, the United States is doing the same thing. So yeah, hey, we'll get off of that. But here's we know what's going on. Here's, if you just joined, we're in Chicago. This is Clark Street. We're seeing the nice view down to the John Hancock, and we're about a mile and a half north of that building. We'll head straight towards it. If you look over here, there's the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower. They had a charity run to the top. There people raced up all the stairs there. They do it every year. People have done it several times, where you race to the top of the steps for charity. And so thanks everybody who participated in that. Here's Clark Street looking south here. Lincoln Park, Chicago. Lincoln Park's to our left. The neighborhood's to our right. We're going to head downtown. I'm heading to work. We have 6:50 in the a.m. We have about 47 degrees here in Chicago. And hey, happy November. Hope you had a good Halloween. We had a great Halloween. Check out the footage there, the reruns from the costume contest. I didn't even stick around to see who won the contest. We were able to see that jazz band playing. I kept messing with the camera. It kept showing my face. I kept messing up. There's the dog here. How you doing? But hey, we also saw the 2 new grizzly bears at the Lincoln Park Zoo. I think they're bringing good luck to the Chicago Bears. Look at that. If we can get on this bandwagon, they loaned us to Wisconsin. We loaned them a polar bear, and they loaned us 2 female brown bears, which they're called grizzlies if they're in the Rocky Mountains. If they're near the coast, they're called brown bears. The brown bears actually get bigger than grizzlies because they eat salmon. And those are the ones you see in the river there or in Alaska. But the grizzly bears, the 2 we got in the Lincoln Park Zoo loaned from Wisconsin, they're true grizzly bears because they come from Montana. And they were eating dumpster food when they were cubs, and they got too used to humans. So they put them in the zoo. Here's, yeah, good morning, Samuel. How you doing there? Aisha, Cindy. Yeah, West Coast tuning in. Yeah, welcome to 6 months of darkness. We're just getting started. The time changed. Everybody change your clocks there. I thought they were going to get rid of daylight savings, but we still have daylight savings and the government's still shut down. We stopped the clock. But hey, so we're in November. We'll start talking about Thanksgiving, and they'll start setting up the holiday lights there. We'll get to see them bring in the tree there. They're starting to prepare the ice skating rinks for winter. So we'll still, even though it's getting cold and dark and nasty, we'll still enjoy the holidays here. Maybe we'll take some vacations down south. Yeah, the fall needs to be explored and celebrated. I agree. We still, most of the trees are still green. The trees are starting to lose their leaves, change their color, so we get to check out the fall color here and hang out with the squirrels. You got the turkey ready there, Pete? Yeah. So Canada already had their Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was in the 80s, the beginning of near 90 degrees, just the beginning of October. We did the marathon there. But hey, thanks for tuning in on YouTube. So you see, I'm still posting reruns to TikTok. I know it's confusing people. We're still live streaming exclusively on YouTube. I still think that's the path forward. I, like an idiot, I mistakenly, I did it as a social experiment. I rejoined the Creator Fund on TikTok. Immediately, within hours, they already disqualified several of my videos from the Creator Fund. So I removed myself from the Creator Fund. As I said before, I'm not going to rejoin the Creator Fund. I did it as an experiment. They said, you know, that video of the Bears, of the Chicago Bears, they said it was low quality and they weren't going to pay me for it because they knew it came from YouTube. And so their new terms and conditions, they're making it impossible for me to transfer my own copyrighted material from YouTube, and they just won't. They'll allow me to post it. They just won't allow me to get monetized by it, and that's fine. So if we do anything, any monetization on TikTok, it'll be subscriptions. We'll see if people will be willing to pay $2.99 a month just to have access to the longer videos without commercials. My content reruns are still available for free. All of them, 100% of them. All my live streams are available for free for you to watch right here on YouTube. You just have to watch the little commercials every 5 seconds, which are annoying. And that's why I'm giving people the option. They'll be able to watch. If they pay $2.99 on TikTok, I'll transfer most of the footage over there, even the long format stuff, which will make subscriber only. And then you can watch me walking the whole parade there, split into like half-hour segments. You're feeling pleasure there without commercials. So for less than a cup of a coffee there at Starbucks, $2.99, we have access to all that. And then we could do sub-only chats on TikTok. If we get over 100 people subscribing there, I'll start doing sub-only chats on TikTok, which everybody can view them, just only people that subscribe can comment, and that'll help out my moderators and that'll help out the viewers, and we can have some enjoyable. And then people will be like, well, I can't comment, I'm not going to watch. Fine, they can watch me on YouTube here. You can comment all you want on YouTube. You can watch the reruns for free. You just got to watch a commercial. It makes YouTube some money. So here's, you notice I didn't say me, I said YouTube. Hey, here we're heading to work here. We're heading down Clark Street. What time we got here? 6:56. We're almost down to North Avenue. We'll go by the Moody Church. Oh, November the 3rd here, 2025. Good morning, America. How are you? Good morning, citizens of the world, planet Earth. Thanks for tuning in here. The nominee. Have good days. Dark Leader, how you doing there? Hammer time. Yeah, it's hammer time. No. You stole that from Rick James. I'm a super freak. Super freak. Look, there's Eugenie Terrace. Look at this church. Herman Baptist Church. You can buy that church. You can make that your Electric Mayhem band headquarters there. The Muppets band. Dr. Teeth, based upon Dr. John. Hey, look at this view. Look at this nice view we get to. Yeah, we're heading straight towards this here. So if you just joined here, this is Chicago. We're at the southern end of Lincoln Park. See the actual park of Lincoln Park's here. They have a parking deck there for the ball fields and for the Historical Society, which is here. Here's the Moody Church. This is the south. We'll get a nice view of the Sears Tower. You might know it as the Willis Tower. No, Chicago's called Sears. There's Eugenie Terrace. That's where Jeremy got us up to the top there. We watched the Air and Water show from the top of that building. Thanks again for that. Steve Lyon got up there too. Thanks to Jeremy for that. I saw Steve Lyon was streaming late last night, so I'm glad fellow Chicago live streamers. I saw Alexander Chicago was streaming. Ernie Chicago Nuggies was streaming this weekend. Ernie covered some of the Pilsen Dia de los Muertos stuff, which is great. Check out his page. And he was explaining to me about the history of it and everything, which is great. And, hey, look at that. There's your Sears Tower here for November the 3rd, 2025. We got 47 degrees. We have 6:58 in the a.m. Happy daylight savings time. Happy Monday. Hope you got an extra hour of sleep there. And even with the extra hour, I was still rushing to get out the door. You know, set the clocks back. Still late to work. Here's hey, here's LaSalle. How you doing there, LaSalle? Robert Cavier de LaSalle. I wasn't even filming him. I was looking at the plaque there. Of course, explored this area in the 1680s, 1690s. For the same time as Joliet and Marquette and the Native Americans. There's the Abraham Lincoln there. Hey, let's cross. Hey, so we'll do a check on gas prices. Here's the gas prices here for November the 3rd, $4.19. The BP, one of the most expensive gas stations in the whole city here. You go a block south there, it's usually 20 cents cheaper. So here's the Chicago Historical Society. Yeah, let's cut over here. Yeah, nice autumn morning here. It's pretty crisp. Yeah, the Chicago Bears won. Yeah, who saw that Chicago Bears game yesterday? Amazing fourth quarter finish. It was neck and neck the whole game. The Bears scored. Well, the Bengals scored first at the very beginning of the game. There was one of the kickoff returns. They ran it all the way back for a touchdown. But the Bears kept hanging in there. It was really close until the fourth quarter. With with about a minute left in the game in the fourth quarter, the Cincinnati Bengals successfully recovered an onside kick, and Joe Flacco marched to the end zone and threw what appeared to be possibly the game-winning touchdown pass for the Cincinnati Bengals to go ahead. And it was less than a minute left, like 55 seconds left, literally. Bears get the ball back, last chance, less than a 2-minute warning there, fourth quarter, down by 1. They were getting close to field goal range, so everybody was thinking field goal. We just get And clock's winding down. Bears quarterback Williams passes the ball midfield. Tight end, rookie tight end for Chicago Bears, Loveless. He caught it. The Bengals defenders almost ran into each other, which freed him up. He was like, hey, no one tackled me. I still got the ball. He made a beeline for the end zone. Bears score the winning touchdown with time running down in regulation. The Bears win 47-43 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Was it 47-42? 47-42, whatever it was. 47-43, 47-42. And hey, the Bears are 5-3. They got a winning record here. Here's the squirrels. So that's the couch tomb. When we talk about when this part of Lincoln Park was a cemetery, it's the last mausoleum. They don't know what's inside. It's like Al Capone's vault there that Raldo opened and nothing was in it. But here, we'll head past the Lincoln statue here, Lincoln Park. Hey, we got some fall color here. Yeah, it's a great game. The Bears. Yeah, I'm going to work. Yeah, and we went by the zoo. The zoo is not open yet. The zoo is a free zoo, but it'll open to the public after 10 a.m. It's usually open from 10 to 5 for free. I used to be able to walk through in the morning, but yeah, if you want to check out my reruns, noontime on Friday, we went to the zoo. There's an hour-long rerun where we went to the zoo. We saw the two new Chicago grizzly bears there that were loaned to the Lincoln Park Zoo from the Madison, Wisconsin Zoo. Ernesto Chicago Nuggies filmed them. I filmed them. Check out that rerun. We check out some of the other animals in the zoo. We saw the giraffes and the meerkats and the eagle, but we got some really good footage of the real Chicago Bears, the real grizzly bears on display at the Lincoln Park Zoo. You can check it out there. And we got shorts on YouTube and TikTok, and we got an hour-long rerun there. And here we'll head straight towards Dearborn Street here. Here's the History Society here. Hey, look at those clouds. This should be a pretty pleasant day. We got about 47 degrees. It's pretty chilly, little wind, but I'm just wearing a light jacket. And hey, good morning. How you doing there? How's everybody doing? Happy Monday after the time change. Yeah, congratulations to the LA Dodgers. They defeated the Toronto Blue Jays there 5-4. It was an amazing extra inning. Even down to the final out, the game could have went either way. Toronto had the game-tying run on third base with like one person out. People questioned whether the bunt was the right move or not. Guy hit into a double play, and the poor base running of the second baseman. If he wouldn't have had such a big lead, they might have still had an extra batter. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's very hard with any games like that, in for a World Series. Yeah, Lincoln Park there. Hubert, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, start to November. Yeah, Doreen. So they're starting to set up the holiday lights in all the places, and we'll start going by the Daily Plaza during lunchtime to see them setting up the Kris Kringle. We got the fall colored leaves, and the weather this week for Chicago standards doesn't look too bad. A lot of 50s and 60s, a lot of sun until maybe next weekend. It might get cold. We'll see. So yeah, Julio, Jim, good morning. Kmart shoppers, yeah, we'll have the blue light special. Yeah, Christy. Yeah, Dolores, Lambie T. Yeah, everybody's saying hello to everybody there. Shauna. So, please everybody send your condolences to Shauna. Shauna's going through a very hard time. She had a death of a close sibling there, and it's always traumatic, I'm sure, as you know. And Shauna's been dealing with, just send general prayer for Shauna and her family and Shauna's health. And I hope your my condolences to you, Shauna, and your family. And I know this is always something we have to deal with. For close friends and people I've grown attached to here over this time, people have helped me out over the years. Sean is certainly in that category, and I really appreciate you. I hope you and your family are stay strong. You get through this. It's very hard. Any family mourning the death of a close family member, and there's nothing, you know, more traumatic than what you're going through there, close sibling there. And so, Shauna, we got you and our thoughts and prayers there, and we'll continue to do so. I know you were dealing with stuff even last week, and then it's just when it rains, it pours. So thanks for being on there, and I hope you guys can commemorate her life there. Here's the mums, and we support each other. We got a nice community here. People know Shauna, and we love you, and we will continue to support you there. And that's what it's all about. This is a real community of people that care about not just this city but each other. It's just basic decency and humanity, you know, and have empathy for our fellow friends and neighbors here. This world we share. Here's look at the beautiful housing here. This is on Dearborn Street. There, the hot in there, our friend Fred. And look at this beautiful housing, these brownstones. Imagine how we saw some of the trick-or-treaters on Orchard Street in Lincoln Park with their families. The traditional kids were able to trick-or-treat. There was some ice activity over Halloween, even though the local officials begged ICE. They said, just give us one day, don't scare the kids. But no, they have to assert their authority, and it's almost like if you ask them to do something, they'll throw you to the ground just to show you that they're in charge. Hey, how you doing? Hey, good morning. How you doing? Hey, you tuning in? Thanks for. Hey, what's your name there? Andrew, thanks for saying hello. Appreciate it. That's great. Yeah, see the loop there. Check him out there. He's a handicap taxi there, and which helps out. You know, that's why they have the vans there, the ADA accessible transportation there. Isn't that nice? Hey, thanks for saying hello there. See, for friends and neighbors there. Isn't that nice? Thanks for watching on YouTube too. That's great. See, here we still got some Halloween decorations. Yeah, people often yell from the cars or trucks, or even one time I was amazed, the Chicago police, they were like, hey, I'm like, I didn't do anything. They said, no, we're watching your live stream. I said, oh, and that's why people know the police and ICE and everybody, they can tune into my live stream, which freaks me out. But also people, we can use it to monitor their activities. It's a two-way street. And you got to watch the watchers. But fortunately, I haven't encountered like Ernie has. And you know, I'm just walking to work through these. You know, people always joke. They said, "Oh, you walk through the north side, you're not gonna." ICE was in Lincoln Park. ICE was in Lakeview. ICE was in Evanston. Did you see the mayor of Evanston? Did you read it? Did you listen to his statement? The mayor of Evanston was pretty forceful in his message to ICE. Isn't that amazing? And politicians have to really put their money where their mouth is. Isn't that amazing? And all politics is local. But hey, we'll so if you just joined, we're in Chicago. We're on Dearborn Street. We're heading to work here on a Monday. Happy November the 3rd, 2025. After the time change, we have 7:09 in the AM, and we have Central Time Zone in North America, and we have 47 degrees, a little chilly start. Holiday Fair, November. Let's see what this is. Join us for St. Chrysostom's Day School 25th Annual Holiday Fair. November 6th and 6th, 5 to 7. And then it's the weekend of November 7th and 8th. They got the holiday fair. Here's St. Chrysostom's. This is a Protestant church here. Very nice. And they got the little beehive on the Mary Ellen Christie tree given by St. Chrysostom's. She served in the day school there. They got the nice Zen garden there. Hey, check that out. Yeah, the Bears defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 47-43 or whatever it was. And wow, that fourth quarter comeback there. Caleb Williams threw that pass to Loveless, the rookie tight end. That was the second touchdown he scored. He scored it. The Loveless scored a touchdown earlier in the game. He had a major game there, and the Bears were able to pull off a fourth quarter comeback victory after the Bengals recovered a onside kick, scored a touchdown with Joe Flacco, and they looked like they were going to win the game. And the Cincinnati Bengals fans were shocked, and there were some Bears fans in the stadium. They panned to him after that amazing comeback win. So that was the talk of the town there. So the Bears are 5-3. The Bears are 5-3. We have a winning season. We're in a much better situation than we were at the start of the year. We started 0-2. So hey, hope springs eternal there. Oh, it was a heart-stopping game. Yeah, people were yelling and honking their horns, and it was exciting. We got something to root for here finally. This city is desperate for something to root for with our sports teams. And the Chicago Fire lost to the Philadelphia Union in the Major League Soccer, so they're out. But they at least made it to the first round of the playoffs, which is an improvement for them. Of course, the Cubs made it to Milwaukee, but with the playoffs, but that was it. And so hey, we'll see how the Bears fare. But the Blackhawks are playing, the Chicago Bulls are playing, but the Chicago Bears defeated the Cincinnati Bengals there yesterday, 47-43. It was a great fourth quarter comeback. So go Bears there. Here's and we got the Chicago Bears, the Grizzly Bears at the Lincoln Park Zoo. I think that's a perfect segue. Hey, we still got some Halloween decorations here. Hope you had a good Halloween. We went up to the haunted Halsted. Wasn't that great? Watched the reruns there. We got there before the parade. We mixed with some of the contestants there, and then we walked over to Wrigley Field before the parade started. It was before Wrigley Field got crowded, but they had everything. It got really crowded there later tonight. I saw some people's videos, people dressing up, going to Wrigley Field to celebrate Halloween costume clubs and stuff like that. But we went back to the parade there. That was a great haunted Halsted parade there. We saw so many great costumes, I couldn't name them all. And we cut out the reruns there. You can watch all that on YouTube, and some of it's on TikTok. I'll continue to post reruns to TikTok. We're going to do a subscriber-only system since they finally improved. I know, I commend everybody. Subscriptions went down to 0, so I thank everybody for canceling your memberships on TikTok. Only if you want to. Only if you use TikTok a lot and you want to watch my content, my longer form content on TikTok, it might be worth it for you to do the $2.99. And then if I get over 100 subscribers on YouTube, which I don't expect to do for months, we can go. We always have the option to go live, do a subscriber-only chat on TikTok for special events, and that'll be a perk. And because I know people, they miss me live streaming on TikTok. The only way I'm going to live stream on TikTok is if we get 100 subscribers and we do subscriber only chat, so there'll be enough people in the chat, and then people can watch, but they won't be able to comment unless they subscribe. That's the only way I'm going to live stream on TikTok, I've decided. They kicked me out of the Creator Fund. They make it impossible for me to be a member of the Creator Fund because they don't want live streamers recycling our content. That's the majority of what I do and how we build our account. People just watch the reruns of I cut out the clips, and it works on YouTube. TikTok's getting stingy, which we know they were getting stingy. They're buying back their stock. They're trying to do all this crazy maneuvering with their Oracle. We don't even know. The fact that we hear no news out of the TikTok deal in China means there isn't a deal, and they'll just kick the can down the road indefinitely. But I guess ByteStance still controls the algorithm, which Congress is so impotent to do anything. They can't even enforce their own laws. It's so funny. So, against the executive branch. Here's, hey, thanks for tuning in. We're in the Gold Coast, Chicago. This is where Ernest Hemingway and his first wife, Hadley Richardson, lived on the 4th floor here. 1239 Dearborn Street, Gold Coast, Chicago. We have 7:15 in the a.m. on November the 3rd here, 2025. We got 47 degrees and we're heading to work here. Thanks for tuning in. Hope everybody's having a good morning here. Chris, how you doing? How about this bear? How about that Bears win? They look like Key West, yeah. Ernest Hemingway, of course. And if you go inside, we've met this guy several times. It's amazing how, now that we've been live streaming for 3 years, we run into some of the same. I'm sure they say the same thing about me. I'm quite a character. ran into a interesting gentleman. I think he grew up in that house, or he owns it, or his parents own it, or he rents it out. I think he owns it, or he sold it. But he had a bunch of dioramas in there. We went there last year for the different garb art, and he had one of Key West. He had one of the Mellon Hospital there in Minnesota, or no, the what is that called? The Robert Reed? No, the Moody Clinic, the Moody Clinic that Ernest Hemingway went to. But he used Ken dolls. He used like Ken dolls, and he dressed him up like Ernest Hemingway and Obi-Wan Ernest Hemingway and all this stuff. And he had these dioramas in that house on the ground floor. They had all these magazines. I got a rerun of it. I gotta pull that out. But yeah, Key West, of course, they have a look-alike, Ernest Hemingway look-alike contest every year in Key West, Florida. He ended up living there. But here's, he went to Europe after he went to Chicago. Here's Division and Dearborn here. So here's Bush McGuire's. Bush McGuire's is starting to set up for Christmas. So eventually they'll put the trains out. Once they got the trains out, we'll go back inside. Here's some of the Halloween decorations here on Division Street here, the Lodge and Hopsmith. And there, look, yeah, they're starting to, here's the Christmas in your mouth. Christmas in your mouth. Here's the drink for Bush McGuire's here. McGuire tire is always a hole-in-one. There you go. So here's the Bush McGuire. You get the Christmas in your mouth drink there. I bet, but it's just peppermint schnapps is what it is. Or what does it taste like? I don't drink anymore, so you have to tell me. But here's the Halloween decorations. I bet this was packed on Friday and Saturday night this weekend. There, let's cross the street here. Say, Mother's, Bush McGuire's, Shenanigans, Hopsmith, Serena's Burgers, Nero's, the Giorgio's Pizza here. You can live above all this stuff. Yeah, open late. You're jonesing for a pizza there. Yeah. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. Oh, that's a D. Michael joke. We should get that. Yeah, 6, 7, 6, 7. Everybody screaming unison, 6, 7. So here, just joined, we're in Chicago. We turn the corner here at Division and State Street. We'll head down through Mariana Park. We'll go down Rush Street. We'll head over to Michigan Avenue. This is my walk to work. Here, look at these clouds on Monday, November the 7th. No, November the 3rd. What am I talking about? November the 3rd, 2025. We got 47 degrees. 7:19 in the a.m. We're celebrating the Bears' big win over the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. Here are the red lines. That's the Red Line subway across the way, round in that bend. We're down at Elm Street and State. Hey, look at that view of the John Hancock. See, we're getting closer. Yeah, where's the war zone? Now, there was a lot of violent images over the weekend. I mean, there is, war zone type. It's just isolated to where ICE activity is. And isn't it interesting that people are now starting to associate the government with causing the violence and the fear and the anxiety in communities? It's an outside agent that's injecting fear, and people are not wanting to, it's like, I know there's crime and violence that we've always had in the city, from the regular criminals and the people breaking the law and people, subjecting gang members and things like that. But then now there's this state-sanctioned violence, and even though whatever aims it's trying to do, it still is a dangerous thing that you have to be aware of. That at any moment, ICE could be chasing somebody in an unmarked car, cause a wreck in front of you, and then you got guns and they're like yelling at you. People come out and blowing the whistles. It's a very chaotic situation, very stressful situation that we're all subject to. And it's not good for business, trust me. It's not good for the image of America, because these images get broadcast. I had somebody message me today from outside the United States. They said, what are you going to do to stop your president? They said the rest of the world's really getting concerned. You have to understand that. Think about how we think about Netanyahu. He's a pariah. He's anti-democratic. He's ruining the image of Israel by his own actions. the same could happen with us, where we lose respect in the world because of our support of one man over our constitutional republic democracy. And that's what the No Kings is about. So we'll keep on this, but I won't dwell on it because I know we got people that are on the other side of the political spectrum to tune in. I don't expect you to agree with my opinion, but you have to understand I have an opinion, and I'm going to state it, and you don't have to agree with it. I don't have to agree with yours. This is free speech, and we'll honor the memory of Charlie Kirk by, you respect my free speech, I'll respect yours. We don't have to resort to threats of violence to have a political debate. And we got good moderators. Thanks for understanding. We have to talk about this stuff because people bring it up in the comments. We can't act like this is just another day in paradise because the government is still shut down. It's affecting real people's lives with SNAP benefits. It's affecting TSA, the military. There's flight delays. You know, this is real now. And all this fun and games of voting for someone that's going to put money in your pocket, you know, the cost of health care is going up for red and blue states. For people that voted for Trump, health care costs are going up. Maybe that's what they voted for. Hey, look at the jalapenos. We got some jalapenos here. Here's Gibson steak. Yeah, governments all over the world do this. I hear you, Aisha. Thanks for tuning in there. Melbourne, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in from Australia. Yeah. So we got what is it? 47 degrees. It's about 10 degrees Celsius. So it's a pretty chilly start to the morning here. Man, it was a nice weekend. The nice sunshine, nice fall color. Happy Halloween. We enjoyed it on Friday night. Watched the World Series there. So hey, here's the Russian Oak Street, Chicago, Illinois. There's Prada. There's Hermes. And here's Cartier. So they changed, the lights were purple. They changed them to white. I guess they're gonna leave them up, they already got them up for the holidays here. Hey, look, yeah, these trees got lights on them, so they're ready to go. Yeah, unfair rules and practices. 67 in Alabama there, hey, 6'7", that's good. Pittsburgh, PA, hey, how you doing there, Michael Kirk? Pittsburgh, how you doing there? Yeah, there's a guy that live streams from Pittsburgh, but he goes all over. He travels all over. Jennifer, you should know him. She modded for him, but now he probably mods for her because I think she has as many followers as him now, almost, well, about half as much. I used to know his name there. I killed too many brain cells over the weekend there, partying with the Bears in the World Series there. But Pittsburgh's a great, yeah, you got a nice inclines. There's two inclines. Another hilly, beautiful setting there where the Allegheny and the Monongahela rivers join there to form the Ohio River, the confluence. But here we'll head down, we're in Chicago, we're heading down Rush Street here. We got Monday, November the 3rd here, 2025, 7/24, 47 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius. There's the view to the Trump Tower here. Great Lakes, yeah, Great Lakes Naval Academy, there in North Chicago. Yeah, beautiful area there. They got those bluffs. Great Lakes Naval Academy has some beautiful buildings that they built around World War I. John Philip Sousa's band. You ever John Stars and Stripes Forever? John Philip Sousa was a real band leader in the Navy, and he was stationed at Great Lakes Naval Academy. That was the band for Great Lakes Naval Academy. They got historic photos. Great Lakes Naval Academy had a football team. They used to play against Notre Dame, and when University of Chicago used to have a football team, some of those early football games, I think they even played at Soldier Field one time. Isn't that so? The original Army-Navy teams go back to that. Isn't that amazing? And Great Lakes Naval Academy, yeah. North Chicago. We often see the Navy guys in their whites on Michigan Avenue with their families and partners there on leave there. You got shore leave. But it's mainly a training facility. They do a lot of NAVFAC stuff there. It's great. And it's beautiful suburbs all up that way on along the North Shore. They're heading towards Wisconsin, Lake County, north of Cook County. Hey, thanks for tuning in there. Chris is over baseball. Yeah, we can finally move on. We can move on to the Bears, the Blackhawks, and the Bulls. The Triple B. And how about those Bears? That late fourth quarter win over the Bengals. What an exciting game. Made all the highlight reels. Bears got something to cheer about. 5-3 winning record. And we still got the halfway. We're only halfway through the season. We still got to try to make the playoffs. John Phillips sausage. They make some John Phillips sausage. That's great. Yeah, look into that. Your grandfather was in that band. Julie Smith, yeah, your grandfather was in the Sousa band, Stars and Stripes Forever. Wouldn't that be amazing? There he is, leading the band there, John Philip Sousa. Look at that. That's great. See, part of living history there. There's John Hancock there, 100 stories tall. Here's Archbishop Quigley, Archbishop Quigley here, the Quigley Center. This is, look, Mike Dick away. Russian Chestnut, honoring Mike Dick away because right down the street, Mike Dicka had his restaurant, but he still got one in Oak Brook on the western suburbs there. Yeah, you can't get away from Chicago. We're like 6 degrees of separation. New York and Chicago and LA, you always find somebody from those three cities all around the world. Or at least, you know, the metropolitan areas there. Chicago has over 100 suburbs, considered part of Chicagoland. So here, we'll head down to, here. Yeah, look at this rose window here. We're across from the Lamborghini Gold Coast. And we'll head around to Loyola University. Yeah, the Bentley Gold Coast is across the way. This is Pearson, Russian Pearson. Look at that sky. So we'll get to see many more sunrises because the time change. And now the sun rose at like 6:30, so that's right when I started. So we'll wait until it starts rising about 6:45, 7, and then we'll start heading back over to the lakefront, catch some more sunrises. And we head into late fall here. David, how you doing there? Hey, David, congratulations to the LA Dodgers there. Yeah, we were talking about that. The LA Dodgers defeated the Toronto Blue Jays in Game 7. Went to extra innings. What a close game. And even that bottom of the 11th or 12th, whatever it was, the Blue Jays were still threatening. And that base running error by the second baseman to take too big of a lead ended the game. There's the John Hancock. There's the Ritz-Carlton. Hey, we got some fall color here. We got some wind. Here's the Water Tower, Chicago. Thanks for tuning in. We'll go down Michigan Avenue here, and we'll see what's happening. Barely beat the 51st state there. Yeah, greater Chicagoland area. Loyola University, you're right. Loyola Sister Jean. The downtown campus is behind us. Here's the Water Tower, Chicago. Survived the 1871 Great Chicago Fire. It was built in 1869. The reason it's shaped like that, there was a standpipe that they dug a tunnel 2 miles out into the lake where the water intake crib is. It came right through here, and water pressure pushed the water up, and it filtered the fish and the sand and the pollution, namely the pollution from the Union stockyards that would wash into the lake. That's why they went 2 miles out. But then even that wasn't enough. They had to reverse the Chicago River. We had to go to Greater Lakes to maintain fresh drinking water in the Great Lakes, which is fresh water here, Lake Michigan. This is Chicago Avenue. Chicago, Illinois here. Hey, we'll just head down Michigan Avenue. We'll see what's shaking here. Yeah, Roseland Cemetery. Look at all the architects and significant Chicagoans that are buried in Graceland Cemetery. We got some reruns of that. A lot of the famous Chicago architects are buried there, including Louis Sullivan, Richard Nickel, who was associated with the architects because he preserved. And then, of course, Daniel Burnham. And a lot of the original Armour, Swift, Fields, all those big families in Chicago, they're buried there in those mausoleums, and we go there. We'll get back there. There's that girl in the glass, the very Victorian-looking tombs there, very Gothic. Here we're heading down, looking at the mums here on Michigan Avenue here. We're at Superior in Michigan here, heading to work. We're having a good Monday here. Oh yeah, I fully expect international tourism to be down, you know, because and that's why I was reassured by the British couple that even though people told them not to come to America because of the current political situation and because of the crime in Chicago, they still came anyway and they had a good time. And that shows you, and you know, sometimes having a good time revolves taking risks. And I'm not discounting it. If you don't feel safe, you don't have to come here. International tourism is down. Thankfully, Chicago gets a lot of domestic tourism because we're more of a, you know, Midwestern city. We don't rely on international tourism as much as New York or Washington, D.C. or Las Vegas or San Antonio does. I heard San Antonio. We're like Branson. We're like, you know, I don't think many people from outside the United States fly to Chicago or fly to the United States to go to Branson, Missouri, but a lot of people within the United States drive and go to Branson. I think Las Vegas, more people come from outside the United States than inside the United States, you know. And so here's the Harry Potter store. Nobody's coming here, so here's the Omni Hotel. We'll head across. This is Huron Street, and they got the Harry Potter store all cleared up. You get your butter beer. I bet they'll start putting out. This will be the first Christmas time that the Harry Potter store. So I don't know what they do for Christmas because they just opened the store in the spring. There we saw the grand opening, the Harry Potter store here in Chicago. Here it is on Michigan Avenue. Hey, they got the curtains drawn. And there's the H&M, Converse, Nike Town. There's the big squirrel there. We're heading down Michigan Avenue. We're almost to Erie Street, Erie, Michigan. We'll see if we can get across here, the giant Starbucks. If you just tune in, we're in Chicago. We got November the 3rd, 2025. After the time change here, we got 7:34 in the a.m. heading to work. Got about 47 degrees, a little chilly start to the morning. We're celebrating the Bears. The big Bears win over Cincinnati Bengals there, 47-43. And late, or was it 47-42? Figure it out. There's the Starbucks. Here, we'll cross the street here. No, we'll keep going this way. Hey, Rand's tuning in there. AZAD, how you doing there? Smooth operator, yeah, El Michelle. Worked in a loop in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, thanks for checking out Chicago. Yeah, DC's a ghost town, I know. Did you see someone's Halloween's costume? They were the White House, and they were tearing down the White House with a backhoe. And that was the Halloween. And they were standing in front of the White House. I thought that was a pretty good Halloween costume. And did you see they had a Great Gatsby as the government shut down? This shows you it's the best of times, it's the worst of times. Read Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, and he talked about this in the Victorian age, how it was the best of times. It was about the French Revolution. You know, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times because of the aristocracy and the wealth was concentrated all in a small subset of and they had a Great Gatsby ball as the government shut down and they're cutting off SNAP benefits. It's just not a good look, you know. And if it was a charity ball for maybe, you know, like helping people that are running out of food, you know, but I'm sure it was a charity, but it wasn't for that. Maybe it was for like J.D. Vance's re-election campaign or something. I don't know. But I'm joking. I'm trying to make light of the whole thing here, because sometimes it's just stranger than fiction. Why would they have and it was already scheduled, why would they have a Great Gatsby ball at the White House? It's so they can get everybody excited about the brand new ballroom, you know. So I don't think they're building the ballroom for us. Here's so here we'll head across. Well, we'll stay on this side so we can film the beautiful buildings here. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Here we're on Michigan Avenue. Here we're at Ohio Street in Michigan. There's Streeterville this way. There's Michigan Avenue looking north. So they're gonna put all the Christmas lights up here. When I get out of work now, after 5, it'll already be dark because of the time change. And once they turn on these lights, we'll be able to film them at night here on YouTube. But I'll still post reruns over to TikTok. You can now subscribe only if you want. It's only if you use TikTok and you want me to keep posting content. If people subscribe, it'll motivate me to keep maintaining a presence on TikTok. And we're doing all our live streaming on YouTube now. Thanks for understanding. It just makes my life easier. I know it's inconvenient for people that want to stay in the TikTok universe, but I'm still in the TikTok universe. I haven't deleted my account, and I'm still here on YouTube. We went to Marshall Fields on Friday. Check out the Walnut Room. They lit the Walnut Room tree on Saturday. I didn't go down to live stream it, but you know, I think they're booked solid for the rest of the season there at the Walnut Room. But if you want to, you know, check out, they got the inside of Macy's Marshall Field decorated for Christmas. Thanks again to the wonderful staff at Macy's, the nice woman that talked to me and gave the nice information, let me walk around there. Macy's did contact me. They said, thanks for posting this video. So thanks to Macy's and Marshall Fields in the Walnut Room and the nice woman and the staff there. And people complimented her. They said it was so nice for her to talk to me, and I agree. And so you can check out that. We went to, no, that was on Thursday. That was on Thursday last week. We went to the Marshall Fields Macy's there. On Friday, we went to the zoo, and the Lincoln Park Zoo has two new grizzly bears. They're where the polar bear exhibit used to be. There's still a female polar bear. She has the other half, and they have 2 new female grizzly bears from the Madison, Wisconsin Zoo. They're originally from Montana, and they're now living at the Lincoln Park Zoo. And I think they brought the Chicago Bears good luck. You should go pay homage to the real Chicago Bears at the Lincoln Park Zoo, as the Bears have a winning season there, 5-3 record. And there's the Intercontinental Hotel here. This is Michigan Avenue. You can go down to Billy Goat's there. There's another one blocks out. There's the Tribune Tower. Yeah, the Chicago. Yeah, we got parks everywhere. Neighborhoods and parks. Lincoln Park, Washington Park, Garfield Park, Jackson Park, Humboldt Park, Burnham Harbor, Burnham Park, Grant Park. We got parks. Union Park, Marquette Park, Midway Plaisance, Monsters of the Midway. We got Operation Midway Blitz. That's what they called the ice operation. They even named the government operation after the Midway. Hey, they're working on the Tribune here. So here's the Realtor building. This is where Bob Newhart worked, but they added that round thing at the top. Here we'll head. Hey, we'll cross the street here. So hey, look at this nice view we get of the Tribune Tower as we cross Michigan Avenue. So look at the beautiful view. We're heading this way. We're heading to work here. We got November the 3rd, 2025. We're celebrating the Bears defeating the Cincinnati Bengals there. 47-43. It was a late fourth quarter dramatic comeback win. Caleb Williams was able to hook up with the rookie tight end Loveless There was literally seconds left on the clock. The Cincinnati Bengals had went ahead. They did an onside kick, recovered it, marched down the field, and Flacco threw an end zone touchdown with less than a minute left, 55 seconds. Bears got the ball back, made it across midfield. They just needed a field goal, but they were able to score a touchdown to win the game in pretty dramatic fashion there. And so, hey, Bears are 5-3. Here we're in Chicago. And these are all the vintage skyscrapers here. There's the 333 Whacker London House. That's a hotel now. There's the Mather Tower, the Jewelers Building. This is the Wrigley Building here, downtown Chicago, with the Trump Tower behind it. We're going to walk across the Chicago River. We do this most weekdays. I work down here. This is why I'm always downtown. We do our walk from Lincoln Park through the park and Old Town and River North, and we end up here. I got over 300 videos from the south and west side, mainly on TikTok. We do have some on YouTube. Message me if you're looking for a particular place. We did Al Capone's house. We did the Shameless house. We did Little Village. We've done Pullman, Bronzeville. We did the Bud Billiken Parade. We got a lot of stuff, good content. We did Little Italy, West Loop. Here's Jean Baptiste Pointe du Sable. They put him back here. First non-indigenous resident. There's Joliet Marquette there. His wife was Potawatomi, Jean Baptiste Pointe du Sable. We talk about all the time. Her name is Kitty Wahawa. Hey kids, here's the here's the Chicago River. That's looking towards the lake. Look at the flags. The flags are blowing in the wind here. That's the Chicago flag. It's the Illinois flag, United States flag there. New York's got some beautiful buildings too, but this is Chicago. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. We're going to head to work here, and we'll be back on at lunchtime. We'll take a walk through the loop. We'll see if there's. We'll go check out the bean there, and then we'll check out if they're setting up for the Kris Kringle market. Angel, how you doing there? Naya Papaya, how you doing there? Thanks for letting people know where we're at here. Yeah, there's the view towards the lake. So there's the view towards the lake that way. There's the St. Regis. There's the Sheridan, the Lowe's. We're right here at Whacker in Michigan. There's the Marina Towers that way. We'll head that way at lunchtime probably. And here we'll swing around. We'll get you the nice view. There's the Blackhawk store, Fannie Mae, at the bottom of the 333 North Michigan. There's the Chicago Architecture Center. There's the St. Regis. There's the Apple store there. There's another Apple store up at North and Clybourne. But hey, look at this nice view. The Tribune and the Wrigley Building here, North Michigan Avenue. Hey, Angel, Lorraine, Chris, Aisha, Ricky, how you doing there? Hey, Chicago loves you. Yeah, good morning, everybody. How you doing here? Good morning, America. How are you? Look at that. Hey, we got the light here. So this is where Fort Dearborn used to be. You can look it up. It was destroyed in the War of 1812. The Potawatomi destroyed it, but Americans built it back, and then Chicago was founded in the 1830s. Marina Towers, Tron Goldberg, the architect. Look at that nice street wall there. We got 744. You know what? We got time to go to the bean. So if I make it south of Whacker and we got 15 minutes, we got time to see the bean. So you're in luck. It's sunshine here, so sometimes if we have time before I go to work in the mornings, we'll walk to Millennium Park and we'll check out the bean. We're gonna see if they have any evidence of them starting to set up the ice skating rink. Of course, they'll eventually move in a holiday tree there. They usually use a real tree from somebody's yard that somebody donates, a big giant pine tree, fir tree. And look how the Mather Towers reflected in the Citizen. And there's the Carbide Carbon building here. This is Chicago, Michigan Avenue. We're south of Whacker. See, there's the view to the Wrigley building just north of us, across the river. And I work in this area, so that's why I'm always down here on weekdays. Got to head to the office. I could have worked from home today, but motivates me to get downtown here, see what's happening in the loop. Yeah, Potawatomi. Yeah, thanks, Chris, for spelling that out there. I know I slurred my words. People might not have understood what I was saying there. Yeah, have a great day, right there, Rishi. Yeah, we're in the concrete jungle. Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. You learn to live like an animal. It's from the Guns N' Roses song, Welcome to the Jungle. He was talking about Los Angeles, but it works for Chicago too. You know, Axl Rose was from Indiana. Axl Rose was from Lafayette, Indiana, but he moved out to California, and that's where he hooked up with Slash. Slash is, of course, from Beverly Hills High School. Slash and Lenny Kravitz were friends at the Beverly Hills High School. Their parents were like famous people, like movie stars, the Jet Set, and then they formed rock bands. Isn't that amazing? So Axl Rose moved out to LA and hooked up with the big hair bands there. Now he can't sing. That's what happens to everybody. You blow your vocal cords. Too much whiskey. But Guns N' Roses. Hey, what time we got? 7:47. Yeah, so we'll make a beeline here. Let's go check out the bean here. Let's see if the bean's out this morning. And we got 7:47, just like the plane. There's the Hazel Johnson mural. We got all the bikes here, so here we'll head down towards Lake Street here. Yeah, Axl slept on Slash's couch. Chris knows, yeah. You know that. So there's the Hazel Johnson mural to environmental justice in the city. What's environmental justice? Pollution affects urban areas probably more than just as much as rural areas, with pollution, runoff, fuel emission standards, you know, all the stuff that smog, leukemias in areas where there's oil refineries, you know, cancer rates are higher in cities, the stress for life. So it's not just the crime, it's the crime of environmental injustice in cities. Lead paint, you know, asbestos, all this stuff that we've dealt with in your modern lifestyle. Car wrecks. Hey, look at the sun here. Look at this beautiful view we get. This is here's Garrett's Popcorn Lids. We went past Nutella and Nando's, Stan's Donuts, Bubblicious. This is Garrett's Popcorn. This becomes the gauntlet of brands here as we head towards Millennium Park. Auntie Anne's, Cinnabon, Rainbow Cone. They just added this stuff. They finally got it open here. And there's supposed to be a big destination restaurant here, but still not leased out. Look at the sun hitting. This is what I call the street wall. There's the Pittsfield building. This is the cultural center, which used to be the library. We'll get inside there more in wintertime. We usually go in there when it's cold and nasty. I want to go in the pedway or something. But hey, people are still wearing shorts here. We're going to get up to 60 degrees today. We got the light. So hey, let's go check out the bean. This will be a good way to start off your Monday morning. Thanks for tuning in here. We got sunshine here. Yeah. Look at that nice view. Michigan Avenue street wall here. Grant Park, Millennium Park. Let's get across here before the bus turns. Thank you. This is Randolph Street. Here's the Pittsfield building. Here it is, that's Randolph Street. Yeah, get you some Garrett's there, Sandy. Yeah, it's a beautiful morning, Randy. Thanks for the positivity there. Tons of park greenery, yeah. Streets are clean, yeah. We've got some leaves on the trees, or on the sidewalks, but besides that, that's understandable. Look at the sunshine here. Looking down Michigan Avenue. Good morning, America. How are you there? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Pinkberry. Yeah, it looks like Manhattan, but clean. Thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's less crowded. You know, positive, negatives, everything. There's the Pace bus. 10 years of rocking the shoulder. Here's the 26 South Shore Express there. You take the Jefferson Jump, all that stuff. Take the express down South Shore there. Oh, the other news, Chris. So, the state of Illinois has passed $1.5 billion in new revenue funding for the Chicago Transit Authority. It's huge. It's going to be hugely controversial because it raises sales tax on all people, I'm sure in Chicago, but I think throughout Illinois. And it also raises the toll. It raises, that'll affect you, it affects the 60% increase in the tolls. And of course the suburbs are pissed because most suburban communities don't use the CTA. The CTA doesn't run to their communities, and they're like, why are we paying for this? But I mentioned the same thing. If the Bears do a tax increase to build a new stadium, it's similar to that. So, but whether it's the right or wrong move, at least the Illinois state legislature was able to ram through a 1.5 new taxing scheme here. So in the land of tax here in Illinois and Chicago, we have more tax, but I can tolerate because I use the CTA. So for me, it saves the CTA. I like the CTA. People know how much I love filming the trains and even the buses and metro and everything. But it just shows you that it doesn't come without a cost. And but hey, look into that. We were worried about how transit was going to fare because we're losing a lot of federal funding, and the government shut down anyway. Here's the great beat of Chicago. There's hey, we got some fall color here, so we'll get rid of, we'll get away from this talk about raising taxes here, and we'll just focus on the bean here. So hey, welcome to Chicago. Look, we got fall color here. We're in Millennium Park. We got October the 3rd, 2025. We have a beautiful morning. We're going towards 50 degrees. It feels better in the sun. We got fall color here, Millennium Park. This is Grant Park, and there's the great bean of Chicago. What a good way to start your week off here. Happy November, happy time change. You set your clocks there. And look at the light hitting the Pittsfield building. That's the old Montgomery Ward's there. It used to have a tower. They lopped it off. But here's the great bean of Chicago, 7:52 in the AM, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, over 10 degrees Celsius there. Chicago, Illinois, Millennium Park. Happy Monday here. Yeah. So this is not a building, this is a sculpture. This is called Cloud Gate. We call it the Bean. It's a sculpture. It's a mirrored sculpture in Millennium Park. They say, you know, it reflects the buildings. It's a sculptural thing. And there's the Crown Fountain down there with the faces. And just like the Picasso and Daley Plaza, the city commissioned public works of art in important public plazas to create an iconic setting. And look at this setting. See the reflection of the buildings in the stainless steel. It's an inverted MC Escher type reflects the world, and you can see yourself in it, and that's the best. See, there I am. I'll head right up to it. People always say flick the bean, knock on the bean. Some people erroneously think there's a man trapped in the bean. It's me. Hey, see, I'm trapped in the bean. Get me out. Help me. I've been trapped in the bean. Help me. Here's Brian Really Chicago here. But hey, look at the nice street wall of Chicago here. And see, people take pictures. There's the Prudential. We got 754 here. We'll head right underneath it here. Yeah, so you can head right underneath it there. You can see yourself reflected several times. And you gotta watch you don't hit your head. There I am. How you doing? Hey, sweeping up under the bean there. There you go. Yeah, let's go. St. Louis Blues there. Yeah, we got the Chicago Blackhawks, St. Louis Blues. We saw people, friends and neighbors from St. Louis were in Chicago. They were having a good time there. They gave a shout out to St. Louis there. So there, running towards the bean there. Yeah, they touched it. Yeah, see? There you go. That's how you do it. So hey, I got to head to work here. 7:55. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back on at lunchtime. We'll come back here at lunchtime. We'll check out the fall colors. And we'll head through the loop. We'll probably end up at the Riverwalk. We'll probably stop at Daley Plaza to see if they're setting up for the Kris Kringle market. We got the whole holiday season ahead of us. You'll notice there's now a subscription option on TikTok. I'm not going to do the Creator Fund. I'll continue to post reruns there. Only subscribe if you want to watch long, $2.99 a month, very, very low price. I don't expect anybody to subscribe, because you can watch my content for free on YouTube. You just got to watch ads, and that makes a little money for me from the profit sharing. TikTok is continuing to make it impossible for me to run my page the way I want, because they changed, there's a rat, they changed their terms and conditions. So, you know, we'll if we get enough subscribers, I say if we get over 100 subscribers again on TikTok, we'll do some subscriber only lives, and then I can make it subscriber only chat, and that might be nice for Christmas time. So we'll give you more information about that. Again, no pressure. I don't expect it's an alternative. Instead of giving like a happy heart or like a gift like a galaxy where 50% of the profit goes to TikTok, if you do a subscription, 70 to 90% of the profit will go to me. They just changed it, and they changed it after I told everybody to cancel their subscriptions when I moved to YouTube, and I'm down to 0, so which is good. I want to show them that their old system was not fair to the creators, and now they've updated it, and maybe you guys helped them do that by canceling your subscription. I appreciate that. So here I'm not asking anybody to redo it because you already just canceled it there. So here we'll head through Millennium Park. It shows you I'm not doing this for the money, obviously. I'm doing it because I enjoy it, and hopefully you enjoy it too. Here's so hey, we'll head to work here, 7:57. We'll get up to Randolph Street. We'll show you the nice view of the Wrigley building. But hey, check out, we got reruns of Halloween, the Haunted Halsted Parade. We have reruns of the Chicago Bears, the real grizzly bears, real animal bears there at the zoo. And I think they brought luck to the Chicago Bears there. And then we got the Marshall Field stuff. So we'll see what happens this week. There's always something going on in this city. And there, Chicago. You can get the Chicago Blackhawks Kettle One there. You get the. I make a nice. This will make a nice Christmas gift there for your Chicago Blackhawks fans. Here, let's get across Randolph here. There, we got 26 seconds. We'll make it. I'm getting my morning exercise in here. Look, this is better than a treadmill. Bike going through. You know. Hey, here's Randolph Street. We'll get there at lunchtime. We'll head through the loop of Chicago. We'll see what's happening in the theater district. I got to head to work here. Here's Michigan Avenue. Here's the view up Michigan to the Wrigley building there. Yeah, beautiful morning walk. Dan, thanks for being on it. Rhonda, True Facts Production there. Yeah, it's pretty nice. See you, Kat. See you, Ricky. Chris, thanks for being on there. Thanks, Shauna, for being on there. And again, thanks everybody for your thoughts of condolence, and to Shauna there. Shauna lost a close family member there. They're dealing with a death in the family, and we'll let Shauna take as much time as she needs. Shauna's also not been feeling well, so thanks to everybody for reaching out to Shauna. I hope you feel better, and it's going to be hard because you guys are grieving the loss there, and so thanks everybody for thoughts and prayers there for Shauna and everybody else there, and our whole mod team there, Mary Therese, Anita, Pizza Lisa, Chris, Michael Anderson, you know, Jessica Kahala, and Jessica, we got our Natalie, and Taco Jalapeno Salsa. We love you all there. So thanks everybody for tuning in there, and we'll see you all later today at lunchtime there. Here's the Nando's Nutellas, and we'll keep on going here. And I forgot Ernesto Chicago Nuggies. Check out Ernesto Chicago Nuggies. He's filmed all. Here's a line of Nutella already this morning, and we'll head to work here. Very nice. Your grandson joined the Navy. Hey, you're in the Navy now. Great Lakes Naval Academy. We were talking about that earlier. Beautiful place there. So hey, thanks for your son, you and your family service there, your son there. Thanks for joining the Navy there, and we'll see you at lunchtime there. Thanks everybody. Have a great day. And hey, go Bears there. They won against the Bengals there. Got a 5-3 record there. We'll celebrate that. All right, enjoy the day. LA Dodgers won the World Series. All right, we'll see you. 8 o'clock. Thanks a lot. All right, bye.